Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Fleming here. Let's go ahead and continue on to lesson 6-10 and begin with our mental math. Today we have two problems. Let's go ahead and try to solve both of those. Go ahead and pause the video and give both of those problems a try. So the first one's telling me Danny has a collection of 45 shells. He found one-fifth of them on a beach in Florida. How many shells came from Florida? So what do I need to find here? I need to figure out what is one-fifth of, clue word, of means to multiply, of 45. So if I multiplied that across, I would get 45 over 5, which 45 divided by 5 equals, that's right, 9. Let's reveal the answer to see if we got that right. Yes, 9 shells. What if we did the other one? Let's take a look. Amanda wants to donate $100 to charity. So far, she has raised 1/10 of that amount. How much has she raised? So I need to find 1/10 of, clue word, which means multiply, of 100. If I multiply across, I get 100 over 10, which 100 divided by 10 equals 10. So she should have raised $10. Let's move on into our lesson today. For our lesson today, for our lesson today, I want you to begin with on your slate, or if you have a piece of paper, go ahead and solve the given problem. 3 2/10 times 4 56 hundredths. Go ahead and solve that now, and we'll check to see if you got it right here in a moment. Let's take a look at what we are doing today. Today we are working with multiple step story problems. I know when I was your age in fifth grade, those multiple step story problems, those gave me the most difficulty, challenging, because they're more than one step that I have to use to solve to find my ultimate solution, my answer. So we're going to work on these couple together, and then we'll see if you guys can do the first one of your home links today, okay, on your own. So let's take a look at what we have first, which was our math message. Let's go ahead and fix that up so that we can multiply it. Remember what I said when we multiply decimals, always put the digit that has the greater amount of digits within it on top. And if it helps you, just take out those decimals if those are a distraction for you, because we don't want to mistake those as digits that we carry. So let's go ahead and multiply the 2. 2 times 6 is 12, carry your 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry your 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Most important step when we multiply is bring down that 0, and if you'd like to, cross out any carries in that 10th place there, because we're no longer working with that 2 anymore. 3 times 6, 3 times 6 is 18, carry your 1. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16, carry your 1. Last but not least, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Always important to make sure we keep those digits lined up. And now let's add them. 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 8 is 9, 9 plus 6 is 15, carry your 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So we get for our answer 14 or 14592, but I have a problem here because I got to figure out where that decimal goes. Well, how many digits after the decimal do I have here? Just one. How many digits after the decimal here? Two. Put those together, you get a total of 3. So I need to move that decimal over 1, 2, 3. So where is it going to be? Right between the 4 and the 5. So our final answer would be 14 and 592 thousandths. Okay, did you get that? Good job. Let's go ahead and move on to our lesson today with what we're working with. So here's our story problem. I'm going to um, take a look at this story problem, read it out loud, make some notes while I'm reading it as well. So there are two fifth grade classes raise money for Heifer International. There are 20 students in Class A. So Class A, there are 20 students total. 20 students in Class A. Each student raised $8. So in Class A, they raised $8. All right. There are 30 students in Class B. Okay, so B has a little bit more, 10 more students than Class A, and each student in Class B raised 2 and 5 tenths times as much as each student in Class A. So what does that mean? To figure out what they raised here, I need to multiply 2 and 5 tenths times what each student in Class A raised. How much did each student in A raise? Oh, 8. So I got to multiply those together. All right, but that's not the final thing. Let's look at the question. How much money did the students in both classrooms raise in all? So I got to figure out the total amount of money. Let's do Class A first. Class A is going to be a little bit easier because all I have to do here is to find Class A is take the number of students times how much each student raised to figure out how much total money did Class A raise. So for Class A raised 20 times 8. Do some mental math for me. 2 times 8 is 16. Tag on a 0. So Class A raised $160. However, Class B is going to be a little bit tricky because I got to figure out how much did Class B raise? I can't just multiply something here. So I got to do a couple steps first. I got to figure out how much did each student bring in. So that was 2.5 or 2.5 times 8. So let's do that first. So I'm going to take 30 students times the amount that Class B each student raise. So that's what I got to figure out here. What is 2.5 times 8? So let's figure that out. 8 times 5 is 40, carry your 4. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20. Where's your decimal go? It's one decimal there, so it's going to come right over one place. So how much money did Class B, each person brought in? $20. So because I have 30 students in the class, each student raised $20. I'm now going to multiply that $20 times the number of students. So what is 20 times 30? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. How many zeros do I need to tag on the end? 2. Wow, that's a lot of money. But guess what, boys and girls? We're still not done. Class B raised $600. But remember the question? I got to figure out how much did both classrooms raise in all together. That's a clue word for what operation? Addition. So let's add 160 plus 600. Well, 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. And then 1 plus 6 is 7. How much total money did they raise? $760. Now let's review. What did we do? How can I explain that in words using the good old explain sentence starters? Because we're going to practice that today. Not just solving it, but also being able to explain what we did. Let's take a look. So first, I got the answer of $760 raised by both classes for Heifer International. What did I do first? Well, first I looked at Class A. I multiplied Class A's number of students, which was 20, by how much each student brought in, which was $8, and I got a total of $160 raised by Class A. Then I figured out how much each student in Class B brought in by multiplying Class A's $8 by 2.5 times as much and got that each student in Class B brought in $20. My work is right here. That's where that work is, to try to figure out how much did each person bring in. And it said two and a half times as much, so I had to multiply it by two and a half. Let's move on. And I got $20. Next, I multiplied the number of students in class B, which was 30, by 20 and got $600 raised for class B. Lastly, I added the totals raised for both classes together, $160 and $600, and got $760 raised. This proves my answer is $760. Okay, you get the idea of what we're doing today. It's always going to be a multiple step problem. Okay, the first question might be a little easy at first, like figuring out A was easier for us, but then for B, we had to do some more multiplying there, an extra step, and then ultimately we had to add at the very end. Your question today, where you can find it in the green tray, if you're an in person student, this page is up in the green tray for you to do. Um, it is very similar to what I just did. Two fifth grade classes raised money for their local animal shelter. There are 20 students in Class A. Each student raised $12. There are 20 students in Class B. Each student in Class B raised one and a half times as much in Class A. How much did they raise all together? So what I would do here is what I did before. We have Class A and Class B. What do you know about each? Class A and Class B. How many students are there? How much money did they raise? Okay, and go ahead and figure out how much did they raise all together. And then check in with me when you are finished with that problem, and I'll tell you if you got it correct or not, or if you need to make any changes to that. For your you do today, yes, you may work with a partner on that. So go ahead and pause the video and work with the person next to you to work on that problem when you both are ready. And check in with me when you're finished. And then your you do today, riding solo to check in with me is going to be number one out of your home links 610. Remember, all the questions today from your home links are multiple step problems. So it's not just going to be one step and there's your answer. So make sure we want to use cubes to to make sure that we understand exactly what are we doing? What operations are we doing? Because it's multiple operations that we're going to be doing today. Your reflection today is, what is the answer to 34 and 2/10 times 1 and 9/10? Go ahead and do that on your reflection once you've checked in with me with your you do. This is Mr. Fleming. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye, guys.